Hello, Steven. How you doing?
Good to see you again here on my show and having you here on my show. So tell me, what you gonna perform? What you gonna sing tonight?
Sure. So we're gonna do another song by my band After School Care. So I got my hat here.
I've got my hat.
It's called Grey.
And I've got my sunglasses. Alright. Alright, so whenever you're ready, please start.
Yeah, so this one's called Grey. Hope you like it.
Jason!
Hi. How you doing?
Dude,
What's that?
how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm good. How are you doing?
I mean, well, that's a very good question. We're just on lockdown here in Melbourne, Australia, but we're just trying our best to keep for being positive. So I've got a lot of questions here for you. Thank you very much for being here on my show. But before I'm going to start my conversation with you, would you like to say hi to those who are watching us now and later?
Hi, everybody. How are you doing? Hey, my camera looks a little dark. Does not look dark?
No, is it dark? Is it like yesterday?
It seems a little dark, but do you see me okay?
Yeah, it's all good. So,
okay. All right.
Yeah. Well, for now, so everything is fine. So, when I first came across your page, I noticed your unique work, and I thought, "Oh my God, who is this artist? I really definitely wanted to have you on my show." And the type of painting you have chosen seems to be kind of painting in painting, and almost all your works have a paper form. How did this idea or this style cross your mind?
Okay, so the paper stuff, that goes way back to when I was a kid. And actually, when I started painting full time, it's almost been 20 years, but I did use a lot of kind of paper textures type things, and then I use a lot of typography. But that goes just back to my childhood. One of the things as a kid I remember, and it always sounds weird when I say it, but as a kid I used to like small packages. I used to like just little like product packages, anything with type on it. I was just drawn to it. So anytime I was in the store, I used to collect any little packages I could find. I would collect those things. So it's and it's also paper. You do a lot with paper. We record history on it, and so to me it just can contain a lot of just a lot of our past and our history. And so I just it's become more of a I've been using it more and more lately, and it's just something I really like playing with, because with paper you can fold it anyway and make it, in real life you can form it into pretty much anything. So but and it's just been fun playing with the shapes and the light with paper.
It's amazing. Because when I came across your profile, I wasn't sure it's painting or you've done something with papers. I didn't know that. And that's quite unique, actually. And the main character of your painting is a skeleton. That is in a different situation, represent the subject you've chosen. Why do you use a skeleton to express your message in your work?
That goes again back to my past. I don't want to get depressing. So, but part of it is just my history. But another thing I like to do with the figures, like skeletons, I just use them as figures. I tend to not want an identity to get in the way. Like it's just a skeleton. It could be anybody. And to me, it just doesn't have an identity. And so I like to portray the figure without any identity getting in the way. And, I can have them reacting to other objects, without any of that getting in the way. And so, I've tried to paint people in the past. I like painting. I do like painting like skin and I like doing that stuff. I just don't. I don't know. There's something about it. I just don't care to include it in my work. I do some. I just recently started doing oil painting on the side, and I'm doing some figures. But I can't share any of that stuff at the moment. But I do like painting it. I've just always enjoyed skeletons, and they've just become this thing in my work that I like to have them represent people.
I think that's very unique. That's unique and very interesting. And
thank you.
Yeah, I love it. So now I want to take you back 2 years ago, before you even know much about painting, sculpture, and graphic. I know you were working as a graphic designer for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to know what happened in your life that you made your mind to be an artist? Why did you choose art?
Yeah, that.
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah, honestly, it was years ago. It was as a kid. And one of the reasons is because I come from a big family. There's the 9 of us all together, 9 siblings. So I'm way at the bottom. I have a younger brother, but I'm second to last. And so I was lucky to have older siblings that were totally into music and art, and art was important to them. And I grew up watching them create things here and there. And so it just kind of it came easy. Part of it too is, like, as a kid, I remember going into museums, and I remember looking at paintings and wondering how do you, even as a kid, I'm like, how do you make this painting, and how in the world do you get it hanging in a museum? It was a big question to me, and I was really, I don't know, it had a spark in me, and I ever since those times as a kid and seeing art, it's just always been with me, and I've always wanted to create and paint and try to get it out into the world. And I mean, right now I'm constantly painting right now. I feel like I paint so fast, and I try to slow down, and it's just that I feel like a machine sometimes, but it's always fun. I always have fun on creating. It's just always been with me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. So, and I'm more curious to know the moment you probably got inspired with a piece of art, back in ago. Do you remember what was it? Was it sculptures, or it was like painting, or it was something that...
Right. It was probably in high school. I would imagine it. Let me recall. I'm thinking it was probably Salvador Dali, because in high school I started to get a little more serious about how do I do this, and how do I make art, and try to be consistent about it. But it was most likely either Salvador Dali or I've always liked MC Escher. I always feel weird saying that, because MC Escher always gets this bad. I don't know, people don't seem to think he's an artist, but he was more of a graphic designer or something. But I was always inspired by those 2 artists when I was younger in high school, and started to think more seriously about it. Okay.
And also, when I was reading your biography, I was quite impressed. So you won several awards for your works. Tell me a little bit about them, and tell me what these awards were for.
Oh, okay. Let's see. So some of those were during my time as a graphic designer, and during that time too, I did some illustration work. We did some work for it was Kennedy Space Center, which is it was pretty cool, because it was about I remember researching history of NASA, and having to create pieces based on that imagery from NASA, and so it was a fun project. Some of it was some older work that I put out on my own as unpublished, and so it's been a while since I've submitted anything, but it was some. I've been meaning to recently, but it's been just a few works of some of my work and some work for clients, and some of it was graphic design work.
And it was in 2016 or 17, am I right?
Which one? I'm sorry?
It was in 2016 or 17, am I right?
Oh, right. Yeah, that was, maybe what you're referring to is I got an award for I have it right here. It's this little figure right here.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah, maybe you're referring to this, but there's a like a vinyl toy awards that happens every year up in Brooklyn, and I worked with a company called Martian Toys on that piece, and it was based off a painting that I did in 2015. 2015 was like a strange year for me because if you look at 2015 and my art, like the art I did that year, it was real like funny and had this. I just tried to make it real fun, and what that was I was coming off of the year prior. I was doing things that were really dark, and I was trying to escape that darkness, I guess. Like I was trying to get my mind out of that darkness, and so I jumped into these fun little characters, and I did maybe like 75 characters in that one year. I just was constantly painting these little crazy little animals, and I had a lot of fun, but it just kind of took me away from those feelings of the darker work, and tried to boost me into some other doing something a little less dark, you know. So
that's understandable. So the subtle and clever thing I learned from your work is the way you look at the historical events, as if you've divided decades into your works, because in many of your works, you have used elements that no longer exist in the world today. Am I right?
Yeah, you know, that's a lot of times I sit there and I make things up. I mean, they don't exist in the world a lot of times. Most of the time I try so hard to use objects in real life, and honestly, I have a lot of fun when I have a reference on like an actual object, like a real life object. I have a lot of fun painting those things, but for some reason, I always go back to wanting to just bring my own ideas out of my head and put them down. There's just always so many. There's so many in my head that I feel like it's my own world that I'm putting out there, and yeah, there's not a lot of real life things in there. It's mostly my feelings, but
the reason that I'm telling you, because I found you're interested in history, and I can see
yes.
the historical things actually in your work, and it seems like, you know, you've divided them into like a different decades, you know, and used the element that doesn't exist anymore. I can feel it. I can see it. Is that something that you are interested in? Am I right?
Yeah, I totally love history. I like more the things I've been into for quite a while are for some reason I like military history, and you know, World War I, World War II, all those things. I've done a lot of watching and listening. I don't know what it is that draws me to that. I think what it is there was so many changes to the world, like especially in World War II, the world just totally changed from what it was from that point in time moving forward. And in that time, so much was done. It was like, what, 12, 15 years, maybe something like that. And it was not long, and a lot was done to change the world. And also, there was a lot of, if I'm looking at objects, it's like there's objects in there. There's always objects in history, but there's just a lot of paper. Like I see paper with, you know, history written down on it, and so it's. But yeah, I am drawn to history. I really like history. I like watching documentaries about history and you know, listening to all sorts of stuff about history.
Yeah, yeah. And another highlight of your work is that they are three-dimensional, like 3D. You know,
oh, yeah.
do you usually design them in advance before you're gonna start painting, or does this kind of like 3D things come to your mind while you're painting?
Yeah, yeah, I don't build any references beforehand. I get that question a lot because they do look 3D. So people tend to think that I build maybe like a paper object and then use it as a reference, but I don't do that. It just kind of comes out. I don't know what it is about the 3D. Maybe that was my time in graphic design that affected the three-dimensional type stuff. And you know, honestly, I don't even see it. Like whatever I'm making, I don't see it as I just make it. And when people tell me, "Wow, that's so 3D," you know, it's like I'm like, "Oh, you know, it's a weird thing. Like I often disconnect myself from what I'm making, and it's a weird feeling. But I don't think about how they look 3D. I just put them out there, and I guess maybe it's just a natural thing. It just comes out that way.
Well, they're amazing. They're amazing. Now, as you're welcome. Now, as we made the agreement, so I want you to grab your phone, please, and like reverse the camera and show us your stuff. Take us with you to the studio where you are right now, and
Okay.
If there any project that you're working on or something, I'm more than happy to watch it, but please take us with you. And
Yeah, okay. All right, let me try to get my phone off here without messing it up. Okay, so. All right, so, oops, my studio. Okay, my studio is not too big, but I built my studio myself. It's about 250 square feet. So let me just spin around here. So I'm going to spin around, and there's a computer, some of my stuff. I keep all my prints in here. At the moment, I wish I had some paintings to show you. I just finished 2 shows that I worked on. Maybe together there was about 12, 15 pieces I had on this wall right here. Unfortunately, I shipped all of that stuff out. Some of it went to where you are, to Melbourne. So there's a show there coming up, and some of it went to Germany. So I'll show you some prints here that I have that I hung for you. And these are all done pretty much within the last year and a half. Most of them are small. I like to work small. Just to serve as ideas. And what ends up happening a lot of times is those little ideas will turn into something bigger. Say like this piece right here is a little bigger, and so is that one up there. And those actually, what those are, they're made up of individual panels. So I make individual pieces and I stick them together, sort of like a puzzle. So these are all from more recent works.
Oh, I love that one, the heart.
This one?
Talk to me about that. Why do you want to do that? I love that.
Thank you.
Tell me about that heart. Tell me about the story. Yeah, that one. Tell me. Talk to me.
Okay. That one is called Puncture. And the whole idea there, and it's not like a giant idea, but what that is basically is this heart has been already hurt before, and therefore the hole is already big. And I think it's, so what's happening in this piece is the arrow is in the heart, but the hole is way bigger because it's already been hurt a long time ago. And it's kind of sad, but it just, you know, it's just about kind of like pain or having a hurt heart, and the skeleton is basically looking in there to, you know, see if anything is left. Basically, it's so yeah, these. Yeah, these are more recent. Oh, and see, this is a toy. I don't really do too many toys anymore.
Yeah.
This one was released by Super Plastic, which was earlier or last year. It was last year. So it's a piece that it's a vinyl toy, which, like I said, I don't really do too much of these anymore. I love painting so much. I just want to paint nowadays. And like I said, I'm working in oils, so I have a little space over here for oils, but I can't show you anything in the oils. But I do have something to show you over here. This is where I spend almost all my time on my desk here. And I work right now in acrylic paints. I've been working with acrylic paints for like almost 20 years. And let me show you some little tiny sketches, because I usually start out with these little tiny sketches, which I don't draw too big. They're always, these are all within 2-3 inches. They're just these little tiny sketches. And that one's pretty tiny right there, and I painted that one out.
What is the story behind these? What are you scratching?
The story, well, you know, they're all different ideas. It depends on what I'm feeling. All these were, I kind of clipped them off these papers and I stuck them together. And so, like right now, I was working on this little. That's a tiny sketch. It's like there's barely any information there. But what I do is I'll take that thing right there, and I'll scan it in, and then I'll print it out lightly, and then I'll turn it into something a little more detailed. Like, because you can see how it goes from that to that. And so that I just I darkened my lines and made out a little more details. And then I'll grab a panel, something like, you know, just a blank panel, you know, and then I'll make it look like this. So this is a piece I'm working on right now. And so, like you said, it went from the little tiny sketch, a little more refined, and then I'll start working it out. And this one, you know, I tend to get kind of, I don't mean to be, bring any sad feelings or any depressing feelings to people. It's not really ever my intention to make people feel like down or anything. You know, it's not really so much always about death. Sometimes it is. Like, for instance, this piece, it definitely is. You know, you live hopefully a good life, and then you say goodbye. You know, and that's all this painting is. There's nothing more in it than that. Just life and death. There's nothing more than that. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. And I put a lot of these little pieces out. They're about 4 by there's about 6 by 8 inches in size. So they're not big. But like I said, a lot of times I'll do these and they'll turn into something bigger. They'll turn into a bigger idea, and I'll make another painting that's larger with smaller pieces attached. And those generally take a good while. They take like 3 weeks maybe to make those. Wow. These I do maybe between 2 and 3 days. It depends, but so those are fairly quick pieces. I wish I had more to show you in terms of what I'm working on right now.
Keep texting me a question, like send me their questions. They want you to go back to the wall and show us again the painting that you hang on the wall and talk to us about them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let me see. I have this one here. Obviously, it's just about a couple that, you know, is kind of stuck in time in this painting, and I wanted to make it feel three-dimensional, like, you know, they were really in the wall, I guess, or in the frame. This one here is about knowledge. You know, always trying to search for new things and learn and grow. This one is about being far away.
I love that.
You know, thank you. So you know, a lot of these things are basically like this one right here. There's a skeleton in the head, and I guess you could say that the skeleton represents your imagination or your mind that is doing something. And so that's what kind of happens a lot in these pieces, where the skeleton is either representing an idea or like the mind itself. And this one's fairly simple. It could represent many artists. You know, we like to doodle, constantly trying to bring ideas out. Okay, so this one's high up there. That one I did recently, and that one just came out of, you know, all the recent fires we've had on the West Coast. It's just kind of an idea that came out that, you know, you're surrounded by fire. Unfortunately, these things happen, and my hope was that everyone's okay and that, you know, they can continue forward. And so that was just kind of a thing of hope right there. This one represents a fragile shelter, I guess. Like, you know, you're hoping to wrap yourself in something safe, and you know, there's no safety in that right there. Okay, so this one right here, this one I gotta say is a little more graphical. It's not a whole ton of ideas in this. Sometimes it's just about using elements and playing with them and making something fun out of it. But it says run, and it's supposed to be kind of like a shocking type thing. Let's see, we got this one right here is it's about you know, it's mainly about sin. You know, we worry about it depends on how you feel about religion, but you know, we're most of the time we grow up thinking about doing wrong, and so that's what this one is about. You know, doing wrong. This one I had a lot of fun with. It basically represents a painter. I guess you could say it represents me, whereas you know, my skeletons come directly out of the paint tube. And I did a bigger one, sort of like this. It was on a big round panel, and it was about 2 feet round, and it was similar to this, but the skeleton was kind of circled. This one right here, this one is basically about, you could say about a mental state. Like, what it says is all in your head. Like, you know, you think of things, and you sometimes you think you're in trouble or something's wrong, and you know, it's not always the case. And so this one is just a simple idea about mentality. Same with this one. This one's just a simple idea about being strong, whereas the skeleton in there is not such a strong. You could say it's me too, where I can't say I'm much of a fierce person, but you know, I am strong inside, so it could represent that, where on the outside you're pretty fierce. This one is a bit strange. It says, altogether, it says devour. And if you read it all together, what I like to do on these pieces here is I like to try to put words in them. So what it says is, on this, it says, why don't you, in there it says you, this says make, that says a, and move. So altogether it says, why don't you make a move? And it's all about being proactive. As an artist, myself, I try to always think ahead and do as much as I can to keep moving forward. There's another one up here, which this one it just reads High Moral Road, and what that's about is also about sinfulness, I guess, because there's a Bible in the middle. And a lot of the objects in there will relate to things that you would see as bad or negative things. And like I said, it all depends on who you are, because like I'm not worried about those things. Like, they don't worry me to be that way, or you know, I just always feel like you be who you are, and it's fine. Yes. And then I just have the one up there, just, you know, I think a lot of us know this phrase, stay woke. It's just basically about, you know, keeping your eyes open and you know, try to keep a good, just try to keep things good around you and for around everyone else that's around you. So those are, I think I went through all of them there, but.
Thank you so very much. And people send me some questions that we will go through it if we get a time, hopefully. So
okay.
Thank you so much. I'm going back to my questions. So, and Jayson, I know you're a sculptor as well as skilled painter, but why isn't there much in one of your sculpting work on your page? Is that something that you're not working right now?
Yeah, here, could I switch around to my face again? Okay, alrighty. Yeah, okay, so the sculpture, like I said, for a while I did work on some of the figures I was working on. They were, I guess, let me put it this way, the stuff I'm working on right now.
Fix the phone and then just have a seat and relax instead of...
Okay. Okay, let me put it back on here.
Sure.
So basically, the sculpture, like the things I'm working on right now, they're very complex in terms of sculpting. I know someone can do them, maybe even I can, but what happened there is I sort of fell out of love with sculpting. I enjoyed it for a good while. I had a lot of fun making three-dimensional objects. But it was based on ideas that were a bit more simple to create in three-dimensional form. And not only that, like the material I was using turned out to be kind of hazardous for my skin. It was not the best thing. I was using this material, like a two-part epoxy, which you kind of mix it and you have maybe about 2-3 hours to work with it until it hardens. And I love that stuff. It was really awesome working with it, but it eventually made my eyelids itchy and my fingers itchy, and I had to stop using it. I did buy some other types of clay, but at that time, I just went wild painting. I love painting too much to to step aside and do anything more right now. Sculpting may come back. It might. I just probably need some time to let that clear and then come back to it with a fresh head, with all these new ideas. But right now, I just feel like my head is packed with ideas that need to be painted more than anything.
Keep doing it. I love it. We love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Another highlight of your work on Instagram is that since you're telling a story, but with each post, you tell a part of that story. Am I right?
Yeah, especially with the small stuff I've been working on. Each one individually just tells a little bit of either what I'm feeling or what I've been through, or maybe stuff that's going on in the world. I just kind of grab from everywhere. It just depends on how I'm feeling, and they're all just short bursts of a idea, a story, something I'm feeling. So yeah, you're right. They're fairly quick. But I think about that often, because it's like I go through these quick cycles with these smaller pieces that I do often want to kind of step away, not totally away from it, because the ideas come from here, but to step onto a bigger piece and start putting more into that story, and create a bigger story. I'm kind of doing that with the bigger pieces that have the panels together. It's sort of that, but it's still one idea. But I've been wanting to explore a little more to where the one thing can tell a variety of stories in one piece. But that's just part of growing and changing and figuring things out.
Okay, great. So that's why I was wondering. That's how I felt. So this is going to be my last question, and then I will go through some of other people questions.
Okay.
So, my last question for you is about a color of your work. So do usually the concepts or subjects guide you on what color tonality to use, or is it another factor?
Yeah, that one is tough because like color it's just a feeling. It just kind of comes out as it comes out. I don't try to force it. A lot of times I'll start with the background color. Like I'll look at a sketch that I have, and I'm like, well, this sketch feels like it needs a blue background or a black background or brown. So I'll just figure that out, and then from there I do try to. The rest of it is just kind of using complementary colors that go with that background and with each other, and so it just kind of comes as it comes. I don't really think about the color too much. It depends. I guess it all depends on what I'm working on. Like the multi-panel pieces, the color is everything. I have to make sure they contrast each other. But the single little panels, they just kind of come out at whatever color they feel like coming out. It's hard to answer that one.
That's all right. That's fair enough. So let me choose. Okay. What did inspire you to create this skeleton as your main character? Love your work.
Oh, thank you. Well, the skeleton, like I mentioned, the main reason on there is it has to do with the identity of the character. I want no identity to that character. I just want it to portray a being without any identity getting in the way. I got to say too, in my history, growing up as a kid, watching cartoons and sci-fi movies, there were skeletons in there. I like skeletons, but the main reason is like I just don't want interference with identity.
Okay. Next one. I've just chosen randomly. Okay. What pieces will you be showing in your exhibitions here in Melbourne?
Okay, so that, yeah, those, I'm trying to remember how many I sent. I sent like maybe 8. And I haven't shown anything yet. I may have shown like some work in progress. I try to do that in the stories. I'll show like bits and pieces of the work in progress, but a lot of them are basically about being safe within a structure or within something, like to feel safe within something. So the idea there was basically, that was the main concept of just like having to feel safety. And I don't know why a lot of times that comes up within my work about feeling safe and being who you are, and not being afraid to be who you are. And that just, maybe in the past there was that fear inside of me where I was afraid to be who I was or show who I was or who I am. Even now, it's like, it's hard for me to even be right here in front of you. It's not an easy thing for me to do, but it's not so bad. I used to be terrible at this stuff. I was afraid of just people and everything. And so, but no, I'm not bothered by that stuff now. But so, a lot of it revolves around that. From the work I sent that to Australia.
And you should come to Australia. I mean, when they open the borders, we don't know when.
Oh yeah. I want to. Yeah, I want to. I have something else coming up, but it's like in 2 years. It should be bigger, so I'll be there then, and hopefully y'all open up by then too.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, there are lots of love, and they love your work. And unfortunately, I can't go through all of them.
Oh, it's okay.
Somebody says hi. I own Jason
Thank
Silent
you.
Panel, and sorry, yeah, this one, and no, I can't move it.
I see one here. It says, I own Jason Silent and 4-panel Rest here in Melbourne. Was wondering the inspiration for my pieces. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Cover your. I can't see the whole questions. Hang on.
Well, for this one, I can answer this one real quick. I know for Rest, that was one of the pieces that I did that was connected. Like it was 4 pieces that connected together.
I need to bring you again because it's the question actually covered.
Yeah, it's stuck in the middle here. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there.
You got a question, all right?
I had one. Yeah, it was based on one of the pieces that they have, or 2 pieces. It was one of them they had was called Rest. I don't have any pictures of it right now, but all it was basically what I was saying was it was one of the first pieces that I put together with 4 panels, and it was. All that one was based on, just like this little one I'm working on right now, was based on life and death. And it was, just about rest in peace. I can't remember the other one, but I'll be sure to answer that question though, offline, for that, for that person.
Yes.
Because I don't recall.
There are lots of questions. I'm sorry. I have to wrap it up. So.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, anybody that has a question, feel free to just send me a message. I'll be happy to answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jason, we eventually made it after a few months. And it was such a lovely conversation with you. I really appreciated your time. But before I'm going to wrap it up, is there anything else that you want to mention and probably I didn't ask you?
Well, this was fun. I don't really generally use the live tool on Instagram, like hardly ever. I don't. But it's been fun, and I liked it. So I don't know. I just I'll keep on painting, and you guys keep being awesome. I don't have much else to say, but thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed.
I did. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I hope to meet you one day in reality. It's crazy situation right now. All right. Thank you very much, Jason. I'll catch you soon, and I'm going to say goodbye to you. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.